that are not sustainable within the confines of Proposition 2.5 and revenues that are gonna be generated through state aid and federal aid. It's not sustainable. And as we just pointed out a few minutes ago, we're looking at close to a $2 million structural deficit in the school department when these one-time monies disappear. So, I want to congratulate the town administrator. I thought that was a great presentation, one of the best ones I've seen in years in relation to where we are, where we're at, and how we can effectively come together at town meeting with a balanced budget. You did a terrific job. As far as, taking the overtime from the police and the fire department, it's a shell game. I'm sitting here and I'm committed to making sure that our police and fire departments are able to maintain the public safety within our community and whatever dollars it takes to do that, and to ensure that those monies are fully restored at 100%, even if 75% only comes back from FEMA. So we'll have to find it somewhere else. And over the next 2 weeks, if we can close that gap, taking it out of the reserves with the commitment of FEMA going back to those two budgets, whether it's at 75%, then at least we know they're covered, and we'll have to worry about our reserve accounts going forward. I think it's a good idea. I think it's a fine way of handling it. It's just a shell game. We've got a couple of weeks to work that out. So structurally, how we're looking, I'm in favor of what's been presented. I think we need to move forward. Our commitment to education is not the least bit diminished, and it is a primary responsibility of any society to ensure that our children are well educated. Right here, product of North Reading Public Schools, along with Chief Noel, and Mr. Vino, your kids, a lot of other people. Education is important in primary, and again, it also ties into property values along with a lot of other things. But we shouldn't necessarily be posting, people's salaries as an argument for or against anything. There isn't anybody in this community that hasn't earned what they got paid. And I guess that really bothered me, if you can't tell. So, education is important. It needs the commitment that we currently have, and I think this board, over the last few years, has closed the gap, allowed the school department to get at least to level funding, not necessarily level services, but level funding, at the expense of the municipal side of government. We've made some sacrifices over here too, but again, we don't have the same latitude the school department does as far as being able to move money around. So it's a little bit more of a juggling game over here, and we're committed to doing that. I think that should be obvious to everybody. And I want to applaud the finance planning team, of which I was a member for the last 2 years, not the current year, the hours that they put in order to work collaboratively with the school department and the finance committee to put together a proposal as we have in front of us tonight, along with the administration, superintendent, finance director, business manager, is just a huge undertaking, and they've done a terrific job this year in closing the gap and making sure that we do go into a town meeting with a level-funded budget, fully funded budget, fortunately. Again, we've been very conservative in our estimates, realistic about it, and as a result, as Ms. Castro pointed out, we're not in as bad shape as a lot of other communities across the Commonwealth. And I want to applaud your effort, Mr. Chairman, in chairing the whole thing. I think you've done a terrific job. And with that, I'm ready to take a vote in 2 weeks as far as where we're going to be on the budget.
Thank you, Mr. O'Leary. Any other board members have any other comments? Then let's move forward. We will formalize our vote at our next meeting, which I believe is the 17th.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
And this is a great turnout.
Yes.
This is the way it should be.
Smaller room. We appreciate it.
We're gonna take a 5-minute break, Mr. Vino.
I'm actually all set, but yeah, we can.
Well, no, you're surprising the hell out of me.
What's that?
5-minute break.
Yeah.
Well, we gotta take a break anyway,
That
everybody.
was a nice presentation, very good.
You know something?
That was good.
It was,
Good, lay it out.
gotta make this, just do
Right,
it.
that's good, that'll be fine.
People,
That's it. Said it wasn't coming in
Are
until
we
a lawyer
ready
came
to
in.
reconvene?
Yes.
Town Administrator's report. Mr. Balakonis.
Good evening. Please refer to the yellow sheet that's in your packet. An update, we did receive a additional settlement, MTVE settlement with Getty Properties. The settlement would yield an additional $5,062, and the paperwork is being completed. It needs to be returned to the town attorney by the end of this week, so that will be an additional sum of
there
money that
still
comes in on.
Out there more?
Yeah, bits and pieces. The majority of it has been settled, but now there are some small cases that are still out there that are still out and about.
That was a good thing to sign on to.
That
was
was
a great
money from somewhere out
decision.
there that just kept coming.
Good decision. I pity the poor towns that didn't sign up for it. I think there are probably a few.
Yeah, Andover didn't, I don't think, sign up for it. I think I had this discussion with Alex
I remember
Vispolili
when it
back a
came
long
in and
time
we
ago.
were saying, well, what is this thing? And all I
Yeah,
remember
right, I
was,
mean-
years ago, I had settled I saw an ad in the paper for a class action suit over Similac and Enfamil, if you recall that liquid gold stuff when the kids were small.
Yeah,
And so I sent it in, and all of a sudden I'm getting checks in the mail. I'm saying, same idea, sign us up, you know? No downside.
That's, wasn't any.
No, huge.
This is,
Sign it.
this is big,
Yeah.
but then you think about the defendants in the case, right? They're big.
they're big.
Too big. Real big.
They're big fish.
Some lawyers made a lot of money on this. Oh,
The work they did. You should be thanking them, getting on bended knee. Yes.
thank you, lawyers, wherever you are.
There you go.
If you'd allow me to proceed, I did include a memo in your packet concerning collection efforts with water and trash accounts. There are approximately 170 accounts that remain that have a balance over $200. Collection efforts to date have yielded about 20% return on the accounts that have most egregiously overdue. The next step is, previously I had presented to the board, is we'd like to get the information published. We'd like to send one additional letter out to those accounts, give them a reasonable period of time to pay, and then failure to pay, we'd like to post the names on the website. And coterminous with that, what we would do is issue final notices to individuals informing them of possible termination of services, along with giving them their rights to a hearing. That procedure has been outlined by council in accordance with the bylaws and with state law, but at least I'm not looking for that piece. I'm really looking for the first piece, which is to, so to speak, get the information out there. You have a listing of the accounts that are due. You'll see that they range anywhere between slightly over $200 on the low end to in excess of $3,500 on the high end.
Greg, I'm not gonna ask the finance committee to do this, but if this was an